Welcome to the When We Cry Book Club podcast, where we will be discussing Umineko's third episode. This is the sixth part of our summary discussion following the long-awaited death of George, plus Shannon and Virgilia being murked by the Chiester sisters. Additionally, Kraus and Natsui have gone missing from the guest house, and the small group of survivors head outside to look for them. I'm your host, Lorenzo.
I'm Des.
And this is your friendly neighborhood mushroom.
And here we are. I don't think the listeners will know this, but it's been like over a while. Over a month since we last recorded.
Indeed, it has been over a while.
Yeah, but how have you guys been?
Oh my god, I have so much to talk about, but Des can go first.
Okay, I will try not to say much, just because we have a lot of shit to talk about, but I started reading Book Girl, which is a light novel series that Mushroom holds right alongside Umineko as her favorite story of all time.
Yes, so good. Please read it.
I still don't see it, but I'm also still only at the start of the fourth book, so there's that.
The Book Girl series. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I hate the translation of the name. The original name of the novel is called the Bungak Shoujo, and if I was the person who was translating it, I would have translated it into like the literature girl, but that's just the type of thing I would do.
Book Girl rolls off the tongue better, in my opinion. So yeah, besides that, I guess I've been going down the rabbit hole of trying to solve Evangelion, and hopefully I'll have a video on that next week. We'll see how that goes.
Did you watch the recent movie?
I did. And
are you on the side of liking it or absolutely hating it?
So, without getting into spoilers, people who know me from my opinions on Go probably are thinking that I'm gonna say the rebuilds fucking suck. But unlike the Go thing, you can totally watch the rebuilds and not be spoiled on the greatness of the original. So I actually don't hate the rebuilds, and I'm still on the process of forming my opinion on the last rebuild. But regardless of what I end up feeling about it, I just think it just elevated my love for the original Evangelion even more.
Oh, great. Well, glad you had a good experience with it, because I was recently talking to some people who were like,
it's a fucking mess. I will not deny that the last movie is a fucking mess.
Okay, great.
But yeah,
so Ava fans out there who haven't seen the movie, good luck.
Yes. Next up, who wants to go next?
Well, Lorenzo, what have you been doing?
I've been, unfortunately, reading a lot. Actually, since between our last recording and now, I, replayed the Ace Attorney trilogy. I replayed Apollo Justice, Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney.
Wow.
All in preparation for, Great Ace Attorney, which I'm currently on the second case of the first game. And, I, originally started the games when I was, in middle school and didn't know how to read. Or solve the logic puzzles, and going back to it, the writing holds up pretty well. The puzzles, the jokes, the humor, all that, it's really good. So if you haven't played Ace Attorney recently and you have hella time on your hands, I'd suggest you go ahead and read it. I also got Higurashi Monogatari.
Is that part of the Monogatari series?
It's actually the prequel, the very first entry of the series.
Is that Knife or is that Hurt?
It is Wound Tale.
Oh, Wound Tales. Okay, yes.
Yes, the one that had a 3-part movie.
Yeah. As a person who used to be an actually pretty deranged Monogatari fans, I have actually read most of every single of the Monogatari series.
Oh my god.
I think I have read up to Owadi, which is the final Monogatari. I think that was when I stopped, and that was 2015. But I have read every single one of them, and they're great. I think one of my favorite is probably Owadi Monogatari, the one about him locked in a school, and it's about math.
Oh, I'm definitely not reading that one.
Trapped on an Island with Josh Hutcherson.
No, it's really good, Des. You might like it. It's like a mystery. They're solving a mystery about
math.
Why he's so traumatized. It's very interesting. Monogatari series is really, I think it's really not liked by a lot of people because people misunderstand what is it about, or people see a lot of basically catchy screenshots of what Shaft did to Monogatari and think that's what it's all about. But surprisingly speaking, it's really well done of stories about people and if you read the novel, the writing is amazing. I love the wordplay.
I gotta say the pacing is really good.
It's really good.
I have thought about getting into the Monogatari series because I've heard great things about it, but that's the thing. It's that I hear it is great in the original language, but in English there's a lot of stuff that goes over the reader's head because the language does not work.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I have a big gripe on the VN community and LN community, like light novels and visual novels, because like English is just a bad language to read visual novels in. Most of the Japanese visual novels, or even specifically light novels. The whole time Des was reading Book Girl, I just had to continuously tell him what the original version looked like and how does it feel like, because when I was reading the Book Girl English version, I think the tone of the book is completely interpreted while translating. Like, that's how bad I think the translation is.
We need you to help curate all our.
Oh my god, I'm
novels.
not even joking. I think if Des finishes the 8th book and likes Book Girl, I thought about this for many years. I was gonna translate the rest of the books, but if Des really likes it, I'm gonna do it. I will just translate every single there's 8 more books, and I will translate all of them because Book Girl is so important to me. And Monogatari series is the type of series that even when I was reading it in Chinese, you have to read so much footnote because every single other sentence is a wordplay on a pun on a wordplay, and if you don't get it, you just don't get it.
That's what I've heard.
There's no way you can translate it well enough. The whole point of Monogatari is it's crazy wordplays about people talking.
It's in the name of the title, Monogatari.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think the Wikipedia is oh yeah, it's if you called it Mon Story or Ghost Story, and I'm that's a lame pun, but I guess.
See, that's why I didn't even try getting into it, because I know I'm gonna get a very watered down version of it.
But yeah, anyway.
Oh my god.
Anyway. I have something to say before we get into.
Oh yeah? Go ahead.
Okay. I am very mad at whoever uploaded a series of videos from a sitcom called When We Cry, because now our channel doesn't pop up on the first results on YouTube.
There's a series called When We Cry?
Yes.
It's not.
If you type When We Cry on YouTube,
we might have to mess with the algorithm to boost stuff up. That's pretty depressing.
We have to have horny thumbnails.
No, not like that. We should name things I don't know, podcasts you listen to when you're 3 a.m. and you're depressed or something. You know, what I mean.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Or top 10 murders, closed room murders, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say another thing, which is that because we did something and we just never commented on it ever again, which is that when we stopped doing the Dinmog series, we released an update episode saying, hey, from now on until Sotsu starts, we're going to release book club episodes every week. And then we didn't do it because Sotsu was right around the door. And then in one of the weeks, we had to post the first Twilight of EP3 alternative answer episode because we just went into that rabbit hole in the midst of all of it. So that's why we didn't keep our word.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things that we have recorded we can't even release yet. We recorded a whole episode on Solving the Epitaph, which we're going to release after we finish EP3, which is we still have 2 more episodes. And there's other shit, but yeah, looking forward to that.
Yep. So, I mean, mushroom.
Okay, I finally get to talk. Okay, I'm so excited. Yeah. Okay, so I want to tell you, so during the past few, few weeks that you haven't seen me, these are the things I have done. So one of the first things is that in an angry voice call, I basically convinced and harassed everybody who was in the call who keep telling me about how DDLC was their first visual novel to go finally read Yumi and Her.
Yumi and Her?
Yes, Yumi and Her.
Yumi and Her.
Yes,
Toto, whatever.
Yeah, Toto no. Yeah, so I was you have to read Yumi and Her. So the first person who read it was Horsekim, after that was Yesid, and after that was Kirby. And, okay. As a person who played this game originally in 2013 or 2014 and then replayed it again with the sex scenes, with the 18+ version.
Oh my god, they're so intense.
You have to play the sex scene version.
Yes.
You have to. There's Lorenzo, when did you play Yumi and Her?
I didn't. I just watched clips of the more intense scenes, aka the no spoilers, but yes, the iconic scenes and the 3-way and cut scenes.
Okay. I wrote literary analysis on sex scenes. I'm not even joking. I think Yumi and Her without sex scene is doing yourself a humongous disservice. You're missing out so much part of the story and so much of just the emotional shit that's happening and just the hilarious dialogue during the sex scene. So good. It is only supposed to be enjoyed with sex scenes. I'm not even joking.
Interesting.
Looking forward to it then.
Yes, really good. It's not a long game. It takes you like probably at max 20 hours. I don't even.
Okay, this
like,
is
way
you we're
less.
talking about.
No.
Takes...
I'm saying that as a person who like I think Horsecan beat the game faster than I did because I was super stupid and I forgot what I was supposed to be doing, so I had to sit through like 6 sex scenes and then without realizing that I could have skipped some. And it's fine. I was just a really big idiot. But that's one thing I did. After that, I started reading Book Girl. So then I started reading Book Girl while he's reading Book Girl, which was easy because Book Girl takes me like 2 hours, like 4 hours at max to read a book. So like that was pretty fast.
Yeah, so Mushroom read the whole series in like one night, right?
Yes. So
when you were young.
yeah, when I was really young, I first found Book Girl, and I think I started the Book Girl series at 8 o'clock at night, or it's like 7 o'clock, like in the afternoon. And then when I finished all of the eight books, I think it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, the second day. So I just read like 12 hours straight, probably, and then finished the whole series.
Damn, I wish I had that kind of focus.
Yeah, so then after that, I was like, after off of my high of reading Totono, I was like, oh, what else should I read? And I was like, so then we recorded an episode with another podcast. We will get to that. Eventually we'll release the episode. Look forward to it. And in the other episode with our collab episode with the other podcast, the person who was on there was like, hey, have you read Sakonia yet? You might think, or Caconia, you might think Caconia is really cool. And I was like, yeah, I really want to read it. But then I was like, it's only on phase 1. Like, would I be really like feel super like baited after finish reading it? And I was like, like, Des keeps telling me that Caconia is not that good. He doesn't like it. And I trust Des. Maybe I shouldn't read it. And I was like, but like, Sayome read it in like a night, like since she said it was really good, and I also trust Sayome. So then I started reading Caconia, and bang! Damn.
Okay, in my defense.
Okay. I'll explain what is Des' defense.
Wait, why are you the one defending me? Why am I not?
Lorenzo, read Caconia.
It's in my library.
It's really good. It is really good.
Okay, because I mean, like 2 or 3 of the people in this server, and they're like...
Okay. I will explain to you why I like it. Okay. Both Sayome and I really like it because of the politics. The politics in Caconia is amazing. Caconia's politics is amazing because it is baffling to me that he wrote this pre-2020, like pre-COVID, pre-riots on the streets about like I'm saying this as like American politics. I am American based. Mm-hmm. Lorenzo's American based.
I'm very close to the politics.
Yes.
Not to dox myself or anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, like, and also like rise of fascism, rise of alt-right groups in America, more intense actions between the Middle East, like the power.
Oh my God! Wait, is there a QAnon in Caconia?
You don't even want to.
No. Oh my God.
Oh my God! I'm not even joking. Like, yes, there. So I'm without spoiling you. Yes, there's a QAnon.
And it turns out that they're the Ryukishi readers because they read Higurashi and they're like, oh my God.
It's not. It's like surreal how. Not accurate, but like how much Ryukishi translate the spirit of 2020 into Caconia. Like the politics is so well written. It's like really interesting. The characters I really like. I grow to really like them a lot, like while reading it. And then I immediately, like while I was reading this, I was like eagerly, excitingly, like basically conversing with Sayome, who also like adored the politics and Caconia. So then I was like, hey, Des, what did you not like about Caconia? And then do you know what Des replied to me? He was like,
the politics?
I don't like the politics. I don't really understand it. And I was like, what do you mean you don't understand the politics of Caconia?
Well, let me take the mic for a bit. So
funny.
in my defense, I honestly I don't understand jack shit about politics, and like Mushroom says they're really easy to understand, but I didn't even know Israel was in a fucking conflict until last year. That's how uninformed I am.
Oh.
I could get into why I am not informed about shit. To keep it brief, I just didn't get the appeal of politics because I am not into that. Unfortunately, I don't understand fucking politics. And then I also didn't like some of the design decisions in Caconia when it comes to the story structure. And so, because I read Caconia so long ago, I started to forget the great things about Caconia and only remember the bad things. That's why my opinion on Caconia was so stupid. Now I have remembered that I actually like Caconia because Mushroom and Sayome read it.
Yeah, it was
good to have a second opinion.
Pretty funny. It was really funny because
I forgot I liked it.
like Lorenzo, you'll love it. I'm not even joking. Like, it is a good time. The politics is like, mwah, like so well done. Like,
it is classic American literature, huh?
it's I am not even joking when I say those things. Like, and the reason I'm saying this is because I just like while I was reading Coconia, I'm currently on vacation at my family's house, and I got to read a lot of books because when you're trapped on a beach with no reception, all you can do is read books. I read Station 11 in a day, and then I'm almost done with Axiom End. Station 11 is a story supposedly about like a post-apocalyptic or like world where there's traveling theater people performing Shakespeare, which I thought was going to be a really cool concept. Turns out to be mediocre, not really good. I finished the whole book in a day, and I was kind of fucking pissed about it. And then I read Axiom End, which is like a first contact story, which is the book written by Lindsay Ellis, I know. And it's better, I feel like, but however, I don't really feel like it's profoundly good yet. Maybe it's not because I haven't got to the end of the book, but it just feels like a good blockbuster movie fun. Like, it's like a Godzilla movie, like, or something. Like, but like, it's like, while I'm reading about those things, like, about, like, how people write about, like, pandemic, people write about, like, mask panic, about world building. I mean, I'm reading Sakonia. I'm like, what the fuck? How did Ryuki Kishi do this? Like, Ryuki Kishi, like, if you thought Ryuki Kishi's commentary about capitalism was, like, weak in Umineko, which is just about how rich people bad, then, like, Sakonia is basically, like, I was talking about this, but the pipeline between friendship is magic, Higurashi, to the Tumblr gaze of Umineko, to full-on, I'm a luxury space communism, like, Coconia, is real. Like, that pipeline is fucking real. Just say.
So his excuse that he postponed writing episode 2 of Coconia because of the current events is a completely valid and probable
100%.
reason why.
That has been my theory since he postponed it.
I think
like,
I
damn.
definitely feel like if you read Coconia, you'll see. Like, I feel like Ryukishi's fucking scared, man. Like, I'm not joking, but yes, that's my prolonged, just like love letter to Coconia. We have to do an episode. I know we have to.
Oh damn! I gotta read more.
Yes, Lorenzo. It's not long. It's like the length of EP1.
Is it?
Okay.
It's 20 hours. I promise you can read it in 20 hours.
I can, I think. Speaking of game recommendations, I totally forgot. I also beat Persona 5 Strikers, and it's
how is
surprisingly
Strikers?
really good.
Really?
It's hella good. Oh my god! Like, I I liked it a lot. Like, I was surprised because you'd think it would just be like, oh, it's like a spin-off and like the fighting games or whatever. And like, no, it's great. It's amazing. The gameplay is fun. The story's great. The characters are really good. The voice acting's like really amazing. Anyways, want to get started?
Yes, we're gonna
on reading this stupid book.
Let's go.
Okie doke. All right. Well,
Umineko.
so as I said, we left off with Kraus and Natsuhi missing from the guest house. Everybody from upstairs, which is Nanjo, Battler, and Jessica, come down and ask Ava where the hell they went. They all go outside, and it turns out Kraus and Natsuhi are dead, and they find their bodies in the garden arbor. Jessica's yet again losing her shit. The voice acting is really great here. The bodies that they discover are dry and they weren't sitting out in the rain. And they are yet again gouged by stakes in the knee and leg per the ritual. Ava's on the hunt for George because they still can't find him. She tells everyone to stay put as she makes her way towards the mansion. Everyone refuses to leave her alone and follows her, even though she's also armed with a rifle.
I mean, I'd argue that's exactly the reason why.
What?
They go with Eva precisely because she has a rifle.
Oh, because she has the gun, yeah.
Not in spite of that.
They're like, oh, don't leave us alone. Strength in numbers, too. But yes, she also has a gun. Anyways, Jessica's, on the hunt as well. She's going to kick the culprit's ass for killing her parents. And the narrator mentions that they will most likely lose their life. I think it's Battler, but...
This is a very interesting thing because EP3 has a lot of narrator talking to themselves moments where they're basically like, I think I'm going to die, or like, we will probably not survive this night, or like, when the seagulls cry and maybe there's nobody alive. Like, it's really weird because I feel like that is something that doesn't show up until EP3. Like, on EP1 and 2, it doesn't seem like the narrator has much agency in the sense of just talking about how like they're gonna die or something.
Oh, that's interesting.
So all the survivors are making their way to the mansion. Eva unlocks the stinky-ass mansion with her key. Everyone goes inside. There's like a quote that was something like, it wasn't just the smell of Kinzo barbecue, it felt like bad vibes were happening in this mansion. Eva spots a random-looking sequence of numbers scrawled on the parlor door. It says 07151129, and everyone spends way too long trying to figure out what it's about.
And that's a number that they didn't see beforehand. This was like first time they saw this number, and then they basically stand there for the longest time being like, what the fuck could these numbers be? Until Battler was like, haha, wait, I think 0715, that's my birthday. It's like the fucking stupidest thing possible.
I know, right? It's like the cocktail party effect where, you know, you recognize numbers that are only important to you. Get your head out your ass, Battler. Anyways, it's also written in that creepy red paint that the magic circles have been like drawn with. So another weird thing about that creepy, bloody looking number pattern on the wall. Anyways, who cares about the number things when the real threat is getting to see George plus Shannon's bodies being fucking dead inside that room that they found the numbers on. So inside the parlor, George and Shannon's corpses are found. And with that marks the 8th death, and everyone's well on their way to become, to follow the prophecy of none shall be left alive. Battler's in shock reminisces how seemingly normal yesterday's going-ons were. He also mentions that he's going to have to take care of 6-year-old Angie. Angie. Oh, God. It's like I'm just reading things if it isn't apparently obvious, and I'm just like, Ange? Like mange.
You're doing a great job, don't worry.
6-year-old mange? He also mentions that he's going to have to take care of 6-year-old Angie if he can make it out alive. Battler snaps out of it because Jessica is throttling and accusing Ava of being the murderer. Jessica points out that not only was she the only one with Kraus and Natsu on the first floor and totally could have set up the discovery in the arbor, she also oh, no, that was my only point.
Oh, but like one of my favorite things about that scene is that Jessica was like, you fucking killed my parents. And then Eva was like, how foolish. Why should I know anything about what happened to your parents? And then Jessica's response was, who was on the first floor of the guest house? Aunt Eva. Mom and Dad was on the first lobby along with her. And who was left alive? Aunt Eva. Why isn't this obvious? You're the culprit. You killed Mom and Dad. I carried them outside and shamelessly locked the door, trying to make it seem like it's the witch's doing. And then Eva's reply was, then why do you think George disappeared? He never came down to the first floor. So did he disappear from the second floor? Who was on the second floor? You people were there, weren't you? You know, didn't you? You know that George slipped out of the guest house. You blazingly act like you didn't know anything. You should, if you had stopped George, he would be. And then Nanjo replies, I said stop. Jessica-san was in the cousin's room the whole time, and Eva-san was at the first lobby of the whole time. Neither of you is responsible for anything. That what we have is simply the sadness of losing family members. The culprit is no one, nowhere. It is all just the witch's fault. Stop hating on each other, you two.
I know, right?
Thank you very much, Nanjo.
This scene is so funny. The scene is really funny.
Right?
Because Eva's not, like, answering Jessica's question. She just deflected on another question. And then when Eva was like, then how the fuck did George leave? Danjo's reply was, stop fighting.
Stop fighting. It's the witch.
Exactly. So, like, you know, that's such a great nugget of gold there.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a very, very, I don't know, like, Ava seems pretty guilty at this point.
Yeah.
And she gets super heated, and I mean, like, geez, I'll do the honors of getting rid of George, if you know what I mean.
What?
But after Nanjo breaks
I
up...
do not know what you mean, Lorenzo. Wait.
I want to kill George.
Huh?
You want to kill George?
I want George to just disappear from existence.
I'll be your accomplice.
All right, fuck George. Fuck George 2021.
Fuck George.
That's my slogan.
Oh, anyways, Nanjo breaks up the fight, tells everyone to, like, you know, just assume it's some witch, some, like, unidentified extra person or people. Battler surmises that this infighting is part of the witch's goal with all these locked room situations as well, because, as you know, the guest house was locked, incriminating anyone who's in the guest house to be responsible for the murders and disappearances. Jessica is fighting with Ava, and the gun accidentally discharges and, like, fucks up her eyes. And Ava's like, why did you make me do this? It wasn't me. And she runs away from the scene in a panic. Nanjo tends to Jessica's fucked up eyes, and she is temporarily blinded.
I think it just burned her or something.
Yeah, I don't think she's temporarily blinded. I don't know, but like...
No, she is, like, as in, like...
It's the gunpowder.
It's a gunpowder.
Like,
it's like a gunpowder burn. It's not like... So if she, like, washes it out and then she gets, like, it treated, like, she's not gonna be blind forever.
Okay, that's reassuring.
It's also said by Nanjo. The reason why I remember this very well is because while I was reading this with my friend Dubs spent, like, 25 minutes lecturing me about gun, like, how does it work? And I was like, wow, cool, like, I'm glad you know this. And I was like, are you a gun enthusiast? He's like, no, I just know it because for safety reasons. And I was like,
yeah,
it's just really funny to me.
I mean, like, not to dox myself, but in the area that I am usually around in my life, I'm always thinking, like, I should know how to disarm a gun just in case, you know?
Yeah.
Because that happens to be an area that I situate myself in. So, yeah, I think about that a lot, too. Not that I'm a gun person or anything.
No, me neither.
It's the funny button on the side, guys, and the safety. Just, like, get rid of it, and... Even though you remove the magazine from the gun, there could still be something loaded in the firing chamber.
Yeah, that's something I think about sometimes. Like, if I am ever assaulted with a gun and I manage to get the gun, like, what the fuck do I do with a gun? I don't know how to shoot a gun.
I know, right?
It's not as simple as pulling the trigger, right? There's, like, a safety and shit.
Yeah, the safety is, like, a quick, like, a very easy switch. Like, if you're in the heat of the moment, you might, like, not realize it's on, but just be careful around guns.
What a great
and
take.
try not to fight it with fists.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very specifically, like, even very specifically American problem where, like, there's just guns everywhere. Like, as in, like, you could easily just hear about, like, oh, we just arrested this guy and we found 150 guns on his property. And you're like, who the fuck has 150 guns? Like, what are you doing? Why would you even...
I simply don't know. That's why, like, curbing gun violence or, like, enforcing gun control so
difficult,
whack, because those people are gonna fight back.
Oh, 100%. And, like, that's why all of the gun buyback programs has never worked in America, and at this point, never will work. Ugh.
Yep.
It's fine.
Stay inside, everyone. Anyways, Jessica's eyes have been completely fucked by that discharge of the gun. She's 100% on board with the idea that Ava is the culprit behind everything. She thinks she kills George, the sole witness to her murdering Cross and Natsuhi, and she probably also somehow did the servant corpse locked room chain in the beginning of this fuckery. Nanjo is doing his best to calm her down, still trying to convince her that there's no need to suspect anybody, even though everyone's been murdered, and Jessica's a crying mess.
Yeah, so I think this part is really interesting because, like, Jessica's just crying, and she's like, even tears are hurting my eyes because, like, she can't really see, and she has, like, a blindfold on because, like, Nanjo's like, your light will hurt your eyes anyway because your eyes will just reflectively want to open. And she's like, and then she's like crying, and she's like, oh my god, that hurts. And I think, like, right now Battler is running after Eva since Eva, like, just, like, dashed out and left.
Right.
Eva just lost her shit. Butler's trying to damage control Eva.
Sorry, another aside. Not relevant, but relevant. Speaking of, like, Jessica crying even though it hurts, one time my brother got surgery in his abdomen, and laughing would hurt. So anytime we make him laugh, he'd be like, ow, no, I can't do this. Ow.
Oh my god.
Messed up, but reminds me of that.
That's really fucked up, but very funny to me.
Yes. So Nanjo is tending to Jessica, looks outside the servant quarters where her wounds are being tended to, and Ava Bea appears before him with a mocking tone.
That's the funniest scene.
Yeah, it's like a smash cut. It's like you thought you were okay, smash cut. Just kidding, you're gonna die now. Like.
Exactly, and she, like, mocks him and says that blind people can't resist magic. So Nanjo's begging for his life.
Yeah, and he's like, I remember he's like, I have a sick child, like sick grandchild, which is just like, you know, I feel like that's like the line. It's like, just like, I have a wife and daughter at home, or like, I have a sick grandchild, and you're like,
he plays the pity card, and he gets bonked with a bang, apparently stabbed through the head with Ava Bea's magic staff. And then Eva Bea makes her way to Jessica, or I think taunts her from the outside, says that she's going to kill her over and over again with her endless magic. And Jessica's helplessly groping around the room trying to find cover from her impending doom and crying for her dead family and canon. Beato comes along with her weak-ass energy. Right now, she's super faint, as mentioned previously before when she was helping out George. Her magic isn't 100%, but she wants to do anything she can to help Jessica.
Yeah, she's on battery saving mode.
Yes, right, she's on low power mode. So she witnesses Nanjo's last moments before Eva Bea. Ronove pops in and says everyone's kind of dead meat already, but Jessica's looking pretty pitiful at the moment, you know, crying, blind, like wishing her dead friends and family were back.
Thanks, Ronove.
Yep. He catches on that Beato intends to save Jessica from Eva Bea somehow, even though it's pretty risky. And Beato admits that reuniting Shannon and George showed her what it truly meant to be a witch and what magic actually is, and therefore will act accordingly and become a suitable opponent for Battler. Jessica is still sobbing in the servants' quarters, begging for Kennen to come back and to save her, and he just magically appears with his also spooky ghost ass. The screen fades to black to signify that Jessica's blinded, but she hears the late Cannon's voice for real. He says that he's dead, but the witch temporarily revived him, and if Jessica believes hard enough, he'll take form, kind of.
Magic!
Yeah, I mean, he still doesn't really have a body. He's incorporeal, but he uses his voice to guide Jessica to a hiding spot away from the Golden Witch.
Yeah.
Jessica is telling Cannon while he's guiding her that she doesn't mind joining him in the afterlife, but Cannon says she'll cramp his edgy dead style. Anyways, they chat about their mischances with each other and how they appreciate the time that they're spending with each other right now. Cannon runs into Eva Bea and Ronove in front of Nanjo's corpse, and Ronove lends his power to Cannon to help evade Eva Bea, and Cannon eventually leads Jessica to the parlor and tells her to hide behind the curtains. Cannon calls upon Beato and thanks her, introduces her to Jessica. Beato gives them some alone time in the parlor, and Cannon finally admits that Beato is a good witch. And Beato's like, yeah, well, next time I won't go easy on you. Beato leaves and seals the parlor door with magic, despite Cannon's and Jessica's fates being sealed, aka they're gonna die. You know, like endless magic can't put things back together.
It can, but not forever.
She's gonna try to do what Virgilia did in the beginning of the episode and like temporarily fix this broken vase of life. Deep, right? The Chiesters lock onto Beato and boink her with their gold coil thingy.
Yes, the golden spaghetti, as you called it on the last episode.
The golden spaghetti. But they don't mortally wound her, as Eva Bea wants to talk to Beato and torture her. She calls her weak for reuniting Jessica and Cannon. Beato says that she's simply built different and does what she wants while guarding the parlor. Eva Bea commands the Chiesters to gore her with their magic spaghetti, and as Beato withstands the pain and torture, Eva Bea asks her what made her less edgy. Beato claps back and mocks Eva Bea's use of the endless magic not being real magic, and the Chiesters rip out her heart, but it can't stop her from protecting the parlor.
The plot armor on Beato in this scene, my god damn.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty intense. Like, very dramatic, like defeated but fighting back.
The PS3 CG, very good.
Yes, it's a very, very powerful like artwork. The weak, faint Beato vibe gets thanked by the weak Cannon vibe for allowing him and Jessica's time together. Beato teases him and says that she'll meet him in the next nightmare, and he responds that he'll once again be her companion then. Her heart finally dies and her vibe/spirit disappears, leaving her corpse with a smiling visage, and Beato asks Meta Battler if that was a good enough show of compassion for him, but he still won't accept her as his opponent. And then Eva Bea nearly squinches Beato's heart with her foot, but not before Battler chucks Eva Bea into the metaverse and claims her as his opponent. I'm saying like Eva Bea and Beato, and I'm like, oh my god, am I like sounding coherent?
No, you're doing good.
Anyways.
It is a mess.
Eva Bea is caught off guard by Battler, sicks the Chiesters on him, but he deflects it with his BDE. Battler tells everyone who isn't Eva to scram, calls her an imposter sussy baka, and Battler is fighting Eva to reclaim the name of the Golden Witch for the real Beatrice. Eva protests that she's actually Beatrice, the Golden Witch. And Ronove quickly explains the rules of Eva to even the playing field, as in like, a battle of wits between witches and humans.
Yeah, she's learning the rules on the fly.
Here's where we begin. It's the, cross-examination section of the game. So with Virgilia as a reference, she asks Battler to explain the Eva culprit theory. So Eva summons the ghost Hideyoshi, who says he was taking care of Eva in the guest room, and spits out some red truth being in the room before and after the first, not the first, but Rosa and Maria's deaths. Mm-hmm. Hideyoshi says he was present before, after the crime, tending to Eva. And Battler accuses Hideyoshi of being an accomplice to give Eva an alibi and requests repeat in red to say that Eva was also in the room before and after the crime because she could have slipped out of the room to kill, and Eva Bea can't fight against that. So she loses that one. Mm-hmm. The next thing they move on to is explaining Rudolph, Curie, and Hideyoshi's death in the mansion. Battler pulls a devil's proof to explain Eva being the culprit, as nobody can provide an alibi for her. Eva Bea loses her shit over this bullshit, as in, using witch logic, aka the devil's proof, to convict her. Yeah. And Beato's a little swooned by Battler fighting for her, and further tries to explain that the Eva culprit theory can explain Cross and Natsuhi's deaths. But then Eva Bea turns the tables. She goes back to the Rudolph, Curie, and Hideyoshi murder and uses the red truth to point out contradictions in Curie's behavior regarding leaving the guest house for food, despite agreeing not to leave the guest house under any circumstances. So she's using the red truth to suggest that her magic as a witch influenced Curie, and therefore, proves that Eva Bea is a witch who can use magic to control people. Battler can't provide an explanation for Curie's seemingly illogical change in her behavior, and he can't summon a Curie ghost like how they did with Hideyoshi because it's a witch ability. Beato pipes in with a contrapositive, aka Hempel's Raven, to explain Curie's behavior, as in there was a different motive besides getting food from the mansion that compelled her to take Rudolph and Hideyoshi to the mansion. And she explains that the human side of a witch battle has the power to inspect the corpses to search for hard evidence.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention this, but when I was reading this with Dubs was so bewildered by the contrapositive. He was really mad. He was like, this is kind of stupid. The whole part where they talk about oh, how does she do it? And he's like, he just didn't get why that scene was so long, because that scene is very, very, very long.
No, totally. Even the initial explanations of the Devil's Proof and Hempel's Raven, it's oh my god, I get it. These are just very, very logical fallacies. We're assuming you guys have listened or read along, and you've noticed that all the red truths that they spit out in this scene, they're very intricate, concise, and super long-winded. They're trying to cover any holes that you can punch through it.
Yeah, they're trying to cover a lot of bases while they're doing these very ridiculous red truths.
Yeah, just goes to show you the difference between how Eva Beato plays and how Beato plays.
Exactly. Beato explains that the human side has the power to inspect bodies in a humans versus witch battle of wits, and assists Battler in pilfering Curie's corpse. They find a cigarette butt on her person, which belongs to Hideyoshi, which gives them possible reason to believe that they left the mansion as Curie found the butt in the guest room where Eva was staying in. Mm-hmm. And she hates the smell of smoke, so that only implies that Hideyoshi was smoking a cigarette while Eva was out of the room. And Battler gets really into having Eva admit that she left the room to kill Rosa and Maria. And Eva Bea's form flickers between herself and her witch form and her adult form, loses her shit, admits that she can't completely disprove the Eva culprit theories, but she'll fight back with magic and prove that witches and magic are real. Beato braces herself for something like a big storm coming.
You got a big storm coming.
Honey, you got a big storm coming. Exactly.
I think about that vine all the time. I can't help it.
That whole ass video, they could go, she's going to spit out 5 or 6 red truths or just this one. She spits hella red truth, entangles Battler in her red web. I don't know if you guys want to pick it out here, but I could go down the list of points she spits out and we can go back to it or discuss it in the spoiler section.
Oh, are you at the point where she's like, Rosa no wa shibou shiteiru, Maria no wa shibou shiteiru, Joji no wa shibou shiteiru.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, the voice acting, the delivery, it's very, very good. Just like how Des did
Yeah.
it. It's a very faithful recreation.
Yeah, so it's that's what people call the Web of Red. That's a very classic scene.
Yeah, truly classic.
She lists off so many red truths.
She exposes the witch side.
It's kind of intense to think about because we'll talk about this. Stop snickering. I will disagree with you. I promise. And you will.
No. That's not why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because it's like the whole time up until now, you're like, as a reader, you're just like, please, Beato, give me more red truths, please. I'm thirsting for this.
Yes.
And then Eva Beato just comes here and gives you like more red truths in a single paragraph that like regular Beato has given you in the whole story, and it's just like the worst fucking red truth because it covers everything and there's no way to break out of it.
That's very true.
Exactly. She exposes the witch's side's ass on the mystery of Umineko, basically.
It's a very intense red truth. And also, like, if you're a first time reader, you don't know what the fuck is happening. You're just reading all this and you're like, how the fuck am I supposed to like get anything?
Suss it out.
Yeah, suss anything out from that. Like, it's thorough. Like, it covers everybody's name, and she just basically lists different paragraphs of just red truth.
And like before, her red truth wording like prevents any holes to be poked in the like prevents any technicalities from like explaining stuff. And as much said, first time reader myself, me being a stupid dumb baby, did not realize this was, very impactful to solving the mystery. So as a quick summary, Eva Bea's red truth outlines that there were no more than 18 humans on the island, and only humans were involved in the game. She lists the names of everyone who's previously died so far and confirms their deaths. Battler, Ava, and Jessica are alive, with Ava being with Battler proves that she or Battler did not kill Nanjo. Additionally, Jessica didn't kill anyone, especially due to her blindness, and a human killed Nanjo while Eva Bea stood before him.
Which is a very hilarious red truth, like, to say, because, like, if she truly wanted to say a witch killed Nanjo, then she didn't have to say it, but she had to, like, be so thorough and so, like, fucked up, like, just to fuck with, like, Battler's mind, to say, like, a human who stood in front of Nanjo killed Nanjo. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, she did not have to go that hard.
Myself reading it the first time around, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep reading to figure it out. There's like 5 more episodes of Umineko to tell me the answer.
I really like the fact that it's so web because like you are really just webbing Butler in place. Like, he can't move. He has no moves left. He's just webbed in place.
Hence the spider web. Yep.
And I also have to say that reading this on the regular version of the VN, aka, like, there are 2 versions of the VN, right? One where the text goes from the bottom of the screen, from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen, and the version where you have a text box.
Oh, you mean like the novel version and the adventure mode version?
Adventure version.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, reading this on the novel version, which is the one that covers the whole screen, it's so much better because you just see red truth after red truth covering the whole fucking screen.
Yes.
It's one of the best moments.
And it's on like a black background, and it has red all over it, and it has like red webs all over it, and it's the fucking worst to read, and it hurts your eyes, and you're literally crying like Valor, and you're like, I don't understand. Yeah, while I really like the adventure mode, because I think adventure mode is very accessible to regular VM fans, I really wish there was a blend between adventure mode and novel mode, which would have been the perfect marriage between like the 2 versions. Because I do think it's like nice to like see people's faces while they talk, like, and not have text constantly block their faces. But like having like Web of Truth just to be like novel is like amazing. Like, it's just truly impactful.
I also read it in novel mode, and that's the only way you can enjoy it. Though I wonder if like the PS3 releases like were programmed to do adventure mode.
No, but like I think if you use a 07 mod, you can just patch it that says like I I want the PS3 sprites, but like I want it in novel mode. Like I think you can like customize it like that.
Yeah, you can confirm.
That reminds me of my brother like reading it, and like the pachinko sprites have like really gross looking. I mean, not gross looking, but they look like hentai characters.
But they do look like hentai characters. They are very gross.
My brother was like, "I want the original sprites with the pachinko sprite boobs." I'm like, oh my god. Anyways, Virgilia and Renove confirmed that the red web of truth that Eva Bea spit out was true. Everyone's like, their jaws hit the floor. They look like that Patrick meme from the SpongeBob movie where like their jaws have dropped. And Battler is ensnared with the web so hard that he wants to give up despite Beato's pleas. And Beato steps forward to use red truth to deny the witch. There were never any witches in the first place, she says.
Beato sees that Battler just can't do it, so she sacrifices herself to kill Eva Beato. That's such a good scene.
Exactly. Virgilia concedes that Beato is a good witch disciple in the end, and Beato claims that she's going to reveal all because letting Eva get away with being the witch will plunge Rokonjima into a world of nightmares, as she says, her words. Battler doesn't want her to sacrifice herself, however, and Beato requests that in order to do that, Battler just cover your ears. Don't listen to what I'm about to say because it's going to ruin everything.
I'm going to spoil you, Butler.
It's so frustrating on the first time read to just see Beato like...
Yeah.
It's described like your ears are covered. You just see Beato describe the mystery or explain the mystery of Umineko. And you're just like...
Powerless.
You can't tell what she's saying, right?
Yeah.
He's just like, she's saying the answers.
Yeah.
But I can't hear.
Ryukishi does this, like, this is the second time he did this. Like, in end of EP2, you basically show up and Beatrice is like, yep, you come and lick my feet and I'll tell you everything about how everything is done. And then you're like, what?
Well, then it's the third time, not the second one, because Eva also figured out the epitaph. That's another time when Ryukishi just,
yeah,
shows us the truth, but actually doesn't.
Exactly.
Yeah, Ryukishi's dead-ass taunting the reader by describing Beato explaining the truth of Umineko without actually saying what the truth of Umineko is.
He keeps edging us. He can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, he can.
And Beato uses her, ultimate witch-killing move to get rid of herself and Eva Bea, destroying witches entirely, kind of. Adult Eva jump scares you with a gun pointing at the screen as the culprit. She's like, I killed everybody. She pulls the trigger, kills Battler, and he dies without knowing the truth. He dies knowing that it's possible to deny all magic.
Well, I mean, what does it mean that, like, what do you mean by he dies without the truth? I mean, he kind of does. He just says that...
I mean, yeah.
He basically told Eva, like, he's like, you fucking did all of this. I just explained it. Battler explained all of those type of things to not to Beatrice, to Eva. And then Eva's like, yep, and that's how I killed everybody. And now it's time for you to die too. Like, that's basically how I interpreted it.
Oh, got you. Okay, I like that interpretation better. But the last couple notes before we switch into the spoiler discussions is that he admits that it's possible to deny all magic, but now he's left low-key wanting to believe in magic. So that's where we're going to cut off the end of this summary. It's near the end of episode 3, but right now we are going to go into spoilers discussions. If you have not read beyond this point or finished Umineko, please tune out. We will meet you next time for the next episode recording. And
we'll finish EP3 then.
Yeah, finish episode 3, you freaking nerd. Keep reading Umineko.
Yes.
Let's do
spoilers.
Okay, before we actually start discussing spoilers, I wanted to get into the thing we kind of got wrong on the last episode. So, like, listeners, remember how our whole theory about George would see the door open when Eva was dragging Natsuhi and Kraus and then blah 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 ended up in Shannon's room? Well, that's wrong, because Mushroom remembered that in EP4 there was a red truth regarding this George disappearance, and it says that George did not George did not go down the stairs of the guest house, so unless he teleported to the first floor, it is impossible for my theory to be correct. So actually what actually happened is the Nanjo culprit theory. Nanjo actually did unlock the window for George. But now we can theorize around this. And so the answer we now kind of came to is that probably Sayo was communicating with Nanjo through the phone, then eventually told Nanjo to get George on the phone, and so the conversation between George and Beto is meant to reflect Sayo talking with George on the phone. Then George leaves through the window, and then tying this back to the reasoning I did on the previous episode as to why Sayo would kill George, right? Because maybe he didn't. Sayo told everything to George, and maybe he couldn't take it, and that's why after killing George, Sayo tries again with Jessica. Maybe Sayo, this time, she simply just, instead of waiting for one of the three to solve the mystery and come to the parlor, maybe Sayo just couldn't take it anymore and called George up, come and get her, because she just couldn't take it anymore. And George is, from the three of the kids, George is the one Sayo is the closest to, so that's the one she chose.
Well, that too, and also Jessica. Like, I think in the time that Canon and Jessica were in the parlor by themselves, like, Sayo, Yasu, admitted everything, right? Before the final moments of Ava just going berserk and killing everyone in this reality.
Just to be on record, I do not agree with that theory. I don't subscribe to that theory. I am
okay. Then what do you say happened?
My personal theory for this is actually just very basic. Like I don't necessarily believe Sayo is not a proactive person. I don't believe Sayo went and called for anybody to do this. I think I'm gonna explain this. Why my thoughts on this is that I think, I am pretty much of the subscriber that George probably left to go see Sayo's corpse. That's a real thought process he did have. To go see Shannon's corpse. And he did just ask Nanjo to help him open the window, which is why I think it's really funny, because every single time where somebody basically asks Nanjo, did you fucking open the window? And Nanjo was like, no, the witch did it. I'm like, you fucking opened the window, bitch.
But how would George convince Nanjo to do it?
He's just hey, I don't know, because I feel like it's just the type of thing where one of the first things that could possibly happen is that George basically just fucking left through the window. He just opened the window and then left. And then Nanjo saw the window and then closed it and then realized that he probably left to go see this. Why did Nanjo never brought this up? I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to be the one who feels responsible of telling Eva that I accidentally let your son out and then I closed the window that let him out. I don't know. That's a pretty possible way, because
I was gonna object, but I can see that now.
Okay, second option is that George was like, there's no way I can ask either Jessica or Battler to do this for me, because if I told this to Jessica, she would probably be like, I will either come with you or you're not allowed to go. Or same idea with Battler, who probably tell him it's too dangerous. I don't know what you're trying to do. Let's just wait until for another 12 hours. Everything is going to end and you can go see her dead body if you possibly want. So I imagine it's easiest to ask somebody who's basically outside of the family, which is Nanjo. And then I guess Nanjo at that point probably knows or doesn't, or I think Nanjo at that point knows that Sayo is alive. So maybe he's just maybe this would be a good opportunity. Or I don't know, just for anything. Just I don't think he would think it's that dangerous. Maybe Nanjo doesn't even think that any of all the other servants are dead. He possibly could just be coasting on the fact that maybe all the servants are just in hiding. They're just pretending to be dead.
Nanjo did examine the corpses. I think he would know if someone was actually dead or not, because he knows where to feel the pulse, right?
Yeah.
Nanjo knows that Sayo, Yasu, Shannon and Canon are the same person, and knowing that they're playing dead, because he confirms that everyone's dead, even though one person is two people or two bodies. He probably assumes that not everybody's all the servants are actually dead. And then there's illusions that Ronove helps, Canon sneak past Ava Bea, aka Genji helps Canon,
so maybe, evade Ava with a gun. Okay, even though I know, so that's returning back to the concept that, we all know that all of the servants are actually dead on the first Twilight because it's said in red. I don't know if that same information is actually something that everybody knows on the game board, which that's why
No, definitely not, but Nanjo would know.
You think Nanjo would know? Nanjo would think Genji's dead?
Because, okay, discarding Butler because of the detective's authority, everyone else can falsely evaluate the state of a body. But Nanjo, even if he reports it wrong, he will know, because he can check the pulse. He knows where to do it.
I guess so. Okay, anyway. If Nanjo thinks that they're alive, like, why wouldn't he, like, maybe... Oh, okay. Actually, just kidding. I just realized why Sayo killed Nanjo.
Go on.
I have a theory on that as well. Do you want to say it now? Or
No. Okay, so... I don't know if you noticed something, but do you remember last time I was keep complaining about why I don't know why Sayo killed Nanjo? Like, do you remember I said that, right? I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think now?
Like, I actually wrote that in my Discord message just now when I was writing the summary. I just realized why, Sayo killed Nanjo.
Why?
This is how I'm gonna tie everything together. I think, basically, George, asked Nanjo to help him to get out of there because he wants to see Shannon's dead body, and then Nanjo's like, oh, maybe this is a good opportunity to basically, like, maybe, like, George could, like, go and, I don't know, talk to, like, Sayo, and, like, maybe he thinks he's doing Sayo a favor, and that, in his point of view. So he just let George go, and then he locks the window behind him, and, act like nothing happened. And I think when George showed up, of course, he runs into an alive Sayo, who's basically chilling in, like, Shannon's, clothing, and they have like a basically some kind of encounter. I don't believe Shannon told him anything. Like I believe Shannon tried to say something, and then they freak out, and Shannon like murders him.
Okay.
And I think that's actually a reason why Shannon would go and kill Nanjo, because Shannon's pissed at that point. At the point that I think like Shannon probably wished that like if anybody showed up to see her, it would have been not George, would have been Battler. But, like, so I think, like, in a way, like, Sayo's blaming George's death on Nanjo. Like, as in she's like, well, it's your fault that you let him out, and that's why I had to kill him. And that's why I think. Like, that's why, because there's no, okay, because I was thinking about this very specifically. I was like, there's no reason for Sayo to kill Nanjo. Because Sayo...
Yes, there is.
Why? Tell me.
Mushroom, Nanjo knows about Kuwadorian. He could escape. Sayo needs to kill him while they have the chance to kill him.
Oh, yeah, but do you think he knows that like Kuwadorian is outside of the bomb range?
I'm pretty sure. Cause like, well, Nanjo must have seen where the explosives are, right? And then also, no, yeah, Eva would know. Because that's why Eva goes to Kuwadorian. Eva would know about the explosion, because Sayo would have at least left some notes.
Yeah, Eva knows about the explosion, but I don't think any of the servants know.
No. Yes, the servants may not know, but we can agree that at least Eva knows, right?
Yes.
So, like, imagine this.
Okay.
Imagine it's midnight is approaching, and Eva does not know where Nanjo is, because... maybe she wants to kill him, maybe she doesn't matter. Eva wants to save herself, so she heads for the chapel. Then Nanjo sees Eva going to the chapel, and he's like, what the fuck? So he follows Eva, and then he sees Eva going to Kuwadorian, so he goes as well. And Nanjo knows the truth about Sayo, so Sayo cannot let Nanjo escape because he'll tell everyone the truth about Sayo, right? So she has to kill him before he has the chance to escape. And when Nanjo is right like in front of Jeshka's room, and Eva is somewhere else with Butler, that's the only time Sayo has to kill Nanjo. Like, Sayo cannot let that opportunity escape. She has to kill Nanjo. She cannot hope for the bomb to kill Nanjo.
That's okay. I mean, I'm okay with that theory. I guess so. That's okay.
And then also, in response to your statement that Sayo is not as proactive, well, first of all, I would say planning a murder is pretty proactive.
No. I mean, planning the murder part is proactive, but like Sayo puts everything up to fate. That's one of the reasons why she even plans this whole murder, is because she didn't want to basically make a decision. She didn't want to make a decision between George, Battler, or Jessica. That's the whole point, that she planned a murder. That's why would she like last minute be able to decide that she was like, oh, JK Law, I went through all of this, and then now I'm gonna finally make my decision to go pick George? Like, I don't necessarily think that's like true.
That is true. Mushroom, that is very true. Your skepticism is very much understandable, because this is something that kind of breaks out of Sayo's character, correct? That is why you're skeptical about this.
My fucking
But consider
God.
this. Sayo has been stripped of the title of Golden Witch. Sayo is going through an identity crisis.
Oh,
Like,
fuck you. Okay.
that makes sense, Mushroom. Open your eyes to the truth.
No, I disagree. I still disagree with you on the theory. I still don't think that's enough reasoning to kill Nanjo.
What? How is that not enough reasoning? Nanjo's gonna kill the illusion of the witch. That's more than enough reasoning.
You think Nanjo's gonna fucking leave this island and just start babbling about all of the shit? Like, he's gonna be so encrimed. Like, I feel like Nanjo would definitely not, like, soul anybody out about the subject.
The only reason Eva does not is because revealing the truth, first of all, would hurt Angie, and then later on when she hates Angie, she doesn't tell Angie the truth because to hurt her more, to keep her from reaching the truth. But Nanjo would, because why would Nanjo not? The press would be like, yo, what the fuck happened? Then Nanjo would be like...
But why would Nanjo say all these things? Because that's super fucking incriminating towards him as well.
No, because Nanjo, like, what did Nanjo do?
Because he helped a fucking plan a murder?
No, but he could withhold that part. He could just say, yo, Sayo did all of this. I did nothing. Like, there's nothing that you can...
Then why did he know about this? He still helped, like, this, like...
No, Nanjo could just say, like, so, Kinzo did this thing, and then this child was born, and then that is how I know about this, and then they just exploded the island while we were having dinner, and I fled to Kowadorian because I knew that was a thing, and I didn't have time to explain to the others, so I just fled by myself.
Okay, sure.
Like,
I do not agree, but sure.
Like, there are so many ways to get out of this as Nanjo.
Yeah, but, like, I just mean, like, if I just escaped a crazy murder island, the first thing I would do is not to chase clout. I would not do any interviews to explain my, like setting.
Get into witness protection. Don't say anything.
Yeah, Nanjo could also just do that. Like, why could he not? He could. But Sayo doesn't know that.
Oh my fucking god. And, like, what? That's so stupid, because, of course, like, Sayo knew that, because Sayo prepared everybody fucking money. Like, Sayo,
yeah. You know why Sayo prepared everybody money? Because she was gonna make sure nobody left the island alive unless they found out the truth about the epitaph.
Well, no, but also for, reparation reasons.
What the fuck does that word mean?
Reparations.
Payback.
As in, she's like, whoever gets to live, which she doesn't think anybody will get a bunch of fucking money. I don't know. This is, oh my god. Anyway, we need to move on from this topic. I think we clearly don't agree on what we think happened, and that's totally okay.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So let's start from the very beginning. Last episode we covered that it's clear that Eva poisoned both, or not poisoned, or sleeping pilled both. Natsuki and
Kraus with Rosa's sleeping pills for Maria.
Yeah,
or sedatives.
Yeah, sedatives. I mean, I don't even know if that's completely true. I mean, they're on an island. Like, Natsuki constantly has to take pills for, like, her headache. I imagine she probably has, like, stronger pills anyway. Like,
I just like the idea that Rosa she ran out of pills, and, like, maybe it was stolen by Ava. That's that would have been clever if that were the case, but like you said, there's tons of explanations for, like, how she could have possibly drugged them.
Yeah, I really think that's incredible, because she says that line before they even get murdered. So, like, maybe at that point, Eva already started planning that she's gonna murder both Rosa and Maria, and that's pretty meditative. Like, you know what I mean? Or premeditative. Mm-hmm. You get my point.
Yes. Exactly. She was meditating. My zen is me murdering my sister and her 9-year-old child.
Maybe she wasn't already planning on killing those two specifically, but maybe she was like, I may need this sometime down the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing was, it's Ava Bea explains how, like, once you start breaking, you just, like, have this high of just murdering. Like, she's already, not in the right
on the murder train
headspace with the gold on her shoulders. Yeah. And then she accidentally, presumably, kills Rosa, and she just goes on a nonstop rampage.
Of killing.
She, like, kills Maria in the spur of the moment. And then, she's like, I gotta get rid of everybody else. Kraus is gonna, like, weasel his way out of my gold, right? So then she does the whole thing.
Yeah, so after that, that's a pretty easy murder. We also explained how we think she got the body out of the house. How did it end up in the arbor that's dry? Why is there stakes? To the person who's in the comments that are talking about stakes, let's just get one thing straight. Des is an idiot. And look,
What?
Des is an idiot and doesn't remember. Okay, I'm gonna back this up. Don't worry, Des.
What the fuck?
What?
How is that supposed to comfort me?
Des is an idiot and he doesn't remember half of Umineko. Like, what I'm trying to say is he doesn't remember the stakes are supposed to be there to mask wounds for the longest time. Or also didn't remember that Chiesta sisters are supposed to be the Winchester guns.
No, I remembered about the stakes. I just didn't connect the dots. No, connect the dots about the Chesters. That's all.
So I just wanted to put that out there. If next time people wanted to like basically like explain in the comments what's happening, like maybe you could like call out somebody. You could call out me. I'll fight you in the comments. I keep writing comments to people in the video and people don't reply to me. I'm like, did you read what I wrote? Like I wrote my like basically essay length thoughts on Fate series, and then I'm like, this is person read it? Like I was like, I spent so much time in it.
Okay, about the people who comment as well. I just wanted to say, whenever you're trying to comment on something we said, please timestamp it, because we're not gonna remember what we said. Like, please timestamp what you're referring to.
Just timestamp it and then explain. And I love comments. I will like talk about anything in the comments, and I will reply to you because I don't have anything better to do, I guess.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So stakes are stakes that belong to Kingzo. I do not believe they're murder weapons, which I have already mentioned.
Yeah, they are just paperweights, as we've established.
They're just paperweights. I guess you can use it as a blunt force thing, but like there's so much more better blunt force weapons that are in this house than like, I don't know, fucking stakes. Like, so I will forever stand by the fact that stakes are just used to mask murder holes, basically.
To build the witch narrative.
Witch narrative.
Did you say murder holes?
Yes, murder holes. I just said that.
Okay. A murder stoma. Murder cloaca.
But which I mean by is like the gun holes, like the gun wound holes. Chiesta sisters represent guns, but it's also the murder intent is different. Which I would actually go into it more. I think you
covered it. Yeah, you covered it last time.
You've already explained this on the last episode, Mushroom. Don't worry.
Yes, I already mentioned this already, but I will eventually talk more about it on EP4 as well. It doesn't matter. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I wanted to basically get this on record, which is on recording.
It is now.
So let's talk about the rest.
Yeah, I have a question about the rest.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about this?
Can anybody fucking explain to me why the numbers were on the door?
Oh, it's the bank code. It's the bank code.
Yeah, I know it's the bank code, but like, did Sayo just like forget to tell Eva the bank code, so she was just like, I'll just paint it on the door?
I think it's okay. Option 1, Sayo already gave Eva the bank code, and Eva already has it in her possessions. Like she already saw it and she knows it, and like the bank code written again there is just like a warning. Like it's just like a warning shot telling Eva like, there are more murders on this fucking island and I see you. And here's a number to the Golden Land that's also on a door of your son's murder.
Oh,
basically.
dang. All right.
Okay. Yeah. As I was making the question, I came up with an explanation, and I it's close to what you were saying just now, but like, guys, tell me if this makes sense or not. Because I think this is a great jab that Sayo's taking at Eva, because she's just like, oh, Eva, so you're so infatuated with money that you would choose money over your son? Okay, so here, behind this door with the code to the rest of the money that you still don't have is the corpse of your son, the product of your work. Here, come see him, Eva.
Yeah, like, yeah. Like, as in, like, it's a very, like, is your son worth more than the code of the card that I gave you? Yeah, like, yeah, I think in the comments I wrote while I was rereading it, I read, while I know, like, basically Sayo wrote the code on the, door probably with paint, I would like to imagine that she probably mixed some of George's blood in there, which is pretty fucking hilarious and very fucked up, which would be funny, but I don't necessarily think it's true.
I don't think it's true because Butler doesn't say anything about wounds. Butler says nothing about wounds, so by detective's authority she didn't cut George.
No, George got shot.
Oh, that's true. I'm fucking dumb. What the fuck?
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Of course he has.
I am dumb.
Of course he has to get shot. He has to get shot in the chest.
In case you needed any more proof that I am dumb, here it is.
Oh, and I also think, like, that is like, besides giving Eva the fucking like numbers, I think that's also a warning to like Battler, like as in like, this is my last thing to you, like it's a number that fucking involves your birthday. Like, it's a very big message that's specifically for Battler.
It's that Garfield meme, like, I wonder what this sign's for.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like no Garfields, and then Garfield's like, I wonder who this is for.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think it's... I don't think it's... I really do believe it's just a coincidence. Because the password was made by Kinzo.
Think it's
No, Kinzo gave the gold to...
No. Do you know what the fucking password is?
Yeah, no, as a part of the plan, it was Sayo made the bank box, right? For whoever solved the mystery.
Ah, true. I'm not on my best performance today.
Des, you're an idiot. Tell me, what do you think these 8 numbers mean?
Mushroom, I don't like math.
No, you're a fucking idiot.
Do you hate calendars too?
Like, yeah, do you fucking hate calendars? I thought you made calendar game, you fucking idiot.
No, that was Yansid and Sayo, man.
Okay. I'll tell you, Des. I'm torturing you too much. I feel so bad now. I'm so sorry, Des. I think you're great.
Butler crying in the corner.
The eight digits are Battler's birthday and the day that Sayo solved the epitaph.
What the fuck? Are you for what?
Are you? This is like stated in the story. How did you forget about
What?
that?
Maybe in the manga.
No, it's not. It is definitely fucking mentioned in the VN in EP7.
Are you for sure?
I am fucking for sure, you idiot.
Oh
Holy
my God.
shit. How did you forget about it? Because the whole point is that it is super sentimental that like Sayo basically made the password to a bunch of fucking gold on a card, the birthday of her own birthday as a birth of Beatrice and Balor's birthday. That's basically saying like, I made my bank password my boyfriend's birthday. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I like that. The birth of Beatrice. Huh. That's a good point.
Holy shit, Des.
Yeah. Wow.
I can't believe you forgot about that.
I can't believe you forgot our anniversary.
It's
Butler moment.
Literally.
oh my god.
No, just kidding. We're clowning on you.
I know.
I know, Des. I'm so sorry.
I know. This is how we just have fun and was we torturing each other.
Yeah, I've been clowning on Des a lot. I feel really bad. I like clown him so much about Sakonia.
That is true. Both Mushroom and Sayome. Anyway, Umineko.
Okay, exactly. So let's come back. So now Jessica's pissed. That's what I mean by I love the conversation between Jessica and Eva and Nanjo, because Jessica's like, you fucking killed my parents. And then Eva didn't even deny that. Eva's just like, yeah, but who killed George though?
George. Yeah. That's such a stupid conversation, because if someone a bit more calm was there, they would have figured out that Eva didn't fucking disprove anything, but because everyone was at the edge of their seats being like, holy shit, Eva's gonna shoot Joshka.
Well, Nanjo was like, oh, I gotta stop this.
Just like, holy shit, guys, calm down.
That's what I mean by I think Nanjo definitely let George out of the window, because after like Eva's like, hey, then who the fuck let George out of the window? Jessica.
That has been one of those moments when it's like, well, if I didn't let him out of the window and you didn't let him out of the window, then it just turned to Nanjo and he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think that line is so funny, because like I was like they basically at that moment solved EP3, like half of EP3, but it's just comically hilarious how how funny that line is.
It's just like that moment on the lobby where they are about to reason out that Eva did it, but then Eva is like, holy shit, where is Hideyoshi?
Yeah, exactly. So Jessica gets like blinded in the eye, and Eva bolts off because she's gonna go find whoever the fuck killed her precious Georgie.
Pink
and
guy.
then Georgie. And then Nanjo is like currently here. So Nanjo runs in headlong with Sayo, who's be like fucking ready to meet your maker.
Wait, what?
Well, not runs into, basically.
Wait, are you saying Sayo went with Nanjo to see Jessica?
No. I just mean like Sayo showed up to go come and check out who the fuck is still alive and to go kill Nanjo. And then Nanjo left the room to get something, or I think he heard some noise, and then he walked out to just see Sayo, and Sayo's like, bitch, I'm gonna kill you now, and then kills him.
Yeah.
So the funny thing about that scene is that, like, Jessica hears the witch taunting her from the outside of the door that says, like, horrible things to her. And she's like, you're nosy. Act like a lady and wait in bed. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm going to torture you so much. Oh, I want to talk about this, but, like, do you think this is happening? Like, I know this is a meta narrative, like, this is a magical narrative, but, like, do you think this is happening in real life? Like, do you think Sayo is, like, saying all these horrible shit to her? Or do you think, like, Jessica is just, like, imagining all of this?
Well, none of those. It's just the magic narrative.
Okay.
On the game board world, Sayo just fucking killed Nanjo and then went into the room and pretended to be Kanon.
Okay. I agree. I also agree. I don't necessarily think Sayo would do that to Jessica just to be, like, extra mean about it. So.
I think what was it? Beato said that she's going to expose all to prevent Ava Bea claiming herself as the witch and plunging Rokenjima into darkness. This is like a kind of another topic, but may explain what Jessica hears is. Is this what Toya is imagining what happened on Rokenjima where Ava kills everyone? Or is this like the rumors surrounding Ava?
Probably both.
This is both. Yeah, this is both.
So this is the scenario where Ava kills everybody, and if we don't explain that, Ava wasn't the culprit, that this is what's going to be ingrained in everybody's hearts.
No, it already was. They wrote the episode like this precisely because everyone already thought Eva was the culprit.
Oh, okay. So, like, this is Beato being like, or like Beato's not gonna, or I guess, Sayo isn't going to actually taunt Jessica because it's going to, it misses the point of Sayo's intentions, right?
Yeah, it just doesn't line up with what she does as canon after it. Do you think Sayo/canon at this moment is trying to save Jessica? Because I actually had a lot of thoughts about this. I think at a point, maybe I was trying to be like, if she really wanted to save Jessica, she would have brought Jessica to the gold room. But then when I was reading the parts of like where she's like taking Jessica, she's like, there's a point where basically like Canon has eye contact with Renove, and then Renove basically leads them some other way because Renove is with Eva Beatrice, and she's just like trying to lead them away. I imagine maybe for a split second, Sayo thought about bringing like Jessica to like the gold room and take her out of Kuadorian and like save her, and then like on the way where they were walking, like she saw like Eva running around, and she was like, oh no, we cannot go that direction, and she was like, the only way you can go right now is like hide somewhere, and then maybe I'll come pick you up later, and then I will take you to like the golden.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Because basically Jessica had to hide behind a curtain, and I'm like, that doesn't fucking matter. Like, that's not a good hiding place at all. Like, why bring her back to the parlor?
Yeah, if you want something more to add to that theory, is that I'm always thinking from the meta perspective, and I was like, that doesn't make much sense because Wambuda is sponsoring Beato. So like the certainty that Wamda gave Beato is that she's gonna be satisfied with whatever outcome it ends up having. So
like in her story?
Huh?
Like in her story, like that Beatrice would always get what she wants in her story?
No. What I said is that Beato would be satisfied with whatever ending. Like, so Sayo would be satisfied if one of the three found out the truth about her and accepted her, but she would also be satisfied if nobody did and everybody died because she just wanted the sweet release of death, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
so I was gonna say, Sayo cannot have a change of heart because her certainty comes from the fact that she will be satisfied with whatever happens. But incidentally, her change of heart happens precisely in the episode where she stops being Beato.
Right.
So that can totally happen.
Ugh.
I wanted to say, like, because I think to explain the whole leading Jessica to the parlance of Kuadorian is that the end result is already apparent. Like, Ava and technically Battler were the only survivors, and this is just to fill any holes to prove that, to explain why Jessica didn't make it out. And there's like explanations being like Beato can't save, or Renove and Beato can't save Jessica and Canon from their fate. So just hiding in the parlor is the best that she can do to at least be like, they died together. Like Yasu and, Canon and Jessica.
That's a really interesting idea. I also have to say this other thing is my thoughts is that, just like I said, I don't subscribe to Des's theory about how Jessica and George was told everything, because basically, even in their last breath, Kanon never says his real name, and like why is that super important? They just talk vaguely about like, oh, I want to tell you a story about a boy meeting a girl, and then she's like, I want to tell you a story about how a girl met a boy, blah 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 blah. Like they're just
The
talking
lyrics
vaguely.
of Skater Boy.
Sayo doesn't need to tell Jessica everything. As I said, there was the possibility Sayo probably told everything to George, but Sayo doesn't necessarily have to tell Jessica everything. Like, I'm saying she wanted to,
Okay.
but I'm not saying she did, because adding to your theory, maybe she just wanted to get Jessica to someplace safe while Eva was doing her shit, and then Sayo would come back and talk with Jessica.
Okay. What do you think is happening when Eva meets Beatrice? What's actually happening when they're standing at the door, and then Beatrice is standing in front of the door that has Jessica and Kanon standing in it? Like, what do you think is happening?
When she's killing Beatrice, or like trying to kill her.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, good question.
Because we already established that Sayo has never ran into Beatrice. Like, has never ran into Eva. Like, the whole time. Like,
Yes.
she has never... Like, this... If this is the first time they meet, this will be the only time they meet. And if they didn't meet, then they will never have
Wait,
met.
so we're just counting the initial Beato intervening Rosa and Maria's murders?
All of that is not... Yep. All of those did not happen.
Oh, okay.
None of those happened.
Like, it could be Sayo as Kanon, like, exiting the parlor.
Or Sayo as Shannon.
Yeah, just leaving the room, and then Ava's like, who the hell? And then just, like, murders them on the spot, and then goes inside and kills Jessica. I like that idea. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. And also, like, I will have to say this one thing is that Jessica is actually one of the only ones that didn't say was dead. I think she was actually lost in the explosion. Because if you go look at the tips in the end, of course, in the very, very end, it says Balor was shot by Ushiromiya Eva.
Yes.
And so now let's finally talk about the courtroom. We have already danced around the courtroom for too long. I would like to say how funny it is that, like, Beatrice gets pulled into the metaverse, because she actually have never been to the meta world. That's why she's like, where is this? Where am I? What is this fucking magic? Because she's a piece. Like, that's like, I find that super fascinating that she's a piece, and now she gets promoted to become a player, basically, or gets the chance to prove that she could be a player.
Yeah, kind of that. Yeah.
Oh, my favorite thing is when Balor's trying to like explain about like the Kirie Rudolph murder. Like, Balor does such a bad job explaining it, because he just says, I'm not gonna explain it. But like, it's not even because he can't think of a reason why or how. Like, he just doesn't want to. Like, he's just like not even trying.
Yeah. He's just like, you don't even deserve my reasoning.
Yeah, he's just like, it just happens. I also like to think that like EP3 is really simple in a way. Like, after you know, of course, you still don't necessarily know how like the first Twilight is done, or how the last murder of, don't know how Nanjo died, quote unquote. We don't know. But like the rest of EP3 is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like EP3 is kind of like if you played a game for 40 hours and it's really fucking hard and you're losing a lot, and then suddenly in EP3 you just get like a complete tutorial level because it's like way more like way more coherent.
Breaking conventions, huh? Having the tutorial in the middle of the game.
It is. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Oh, before we go on, I just forgot to mention something.
Go for it.
Precisely about the part that you don't exactly agree with my explanation that Sayo just went around telling everybody the truth. Like, not everybody, but like George and Jessica. Like, it would make sense from a thematical perspective, because then at the end, Beato kind of tells everything to Butler. Simply tells him to close his ears so that he doesn't hear it. But in the end, that's the same as telling the truth to someone who's gonna die. So it's kind of like, it kind of fits together that all three Sayo personalities that she shows people, all of them tell their significant others the truth in this episode, which is the episode where Sayo is being herself.
Yes. Before we get there, let's talk about this. So, Des, you wanted to say that Eva Beatrice is really bad at Red Truth.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to talk about that more?
Yeah, I think she's very mature. Because, Beato is playing a game where she wants Butler to reach the truth. And in episode 2, because of the way Butler got at the end, Beato realized that she can't go too hard on Butler or he'll just close his heart. But she also needs to keep at it, as she will find out in this episode. Because in this episode, she was too soft-hearted. And at the end, Butler accepts magic. So she's just like, oh, well, fuck, now I can't be... I guess I can't be too much or too little because this man just fucking either closes himself off or just accepts everything. So Beato is playing a much more difficult game to win.
Like a very delicate game.
Yes. And Beato, she has to keep up the facade that she's trying to win, right? So she has to let out red truths that feel like they are canceling Butler's moves, but in reality, behind the surface, are leading him towards the truth. So Beato's red truths are very intricate, even if they don't seem like it at first. While Eva Beato's red truths are just these big chunks of red text that are just like an open road to the truth. It's like you have a labyrinth and Eva Beato's red truths are just blocking out all of the wrong paths. That's why I say it's immature.
Well, yeah, but like Eva's red truths are actually really weird because they're not necessarily about proving a witch could have done it. What actually Beatrice's red truth to me seems like it's just saying like, well, if you can explain all of the murder, like if you can explain some of the murder as Eva Beatrice, then could you explain all of the murder? And that's actually what I think is really specific that I don't, I disagree. Okay, I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Sorry. So what I'm trying to say is that like Eva Beatrice, when she's talking about murders, she's like, well, like you proved like in the end, like after she says a bunch of things about red truth, she says like, oh, well, you proved that maybe I have probably killed Rudolph and Kirie, it may be like, and they didn't even mention like Natsuhi and Kraus because I feel like that's a pretty open and shut case. She basically says like, if you think I did those murders, then who did you think did Nanjo's murder? And then she basically gives you a web of text that basically says nobody could have done Nanjo's murder. And Nanjo didn't kill himself. And she says these words, which is a human person stood in front of Nanjo and then killed him. Which is not something you would want to say if you're a witch. Like, do you know what I mean?
I don't necessarily agree with that because I think pulling out something like that where you switch it for something else because your current method isn't working, that's a very Eva thing to pull because as I brought up at the start of our discussions about EP3, when we see young Eva is someone who is desperately trying to prove to Kraus and Kinzo that she, as a woman, is at the same level as the man, right? But then, when we see her arguing as an adult, she takes a different approach. She says, yes, I am a woman, and supposedly I am inferior to you, but look at this, an inferior woman outplayed you, Kraus, right? So, like, if you parallel this with the way she's playing as a witch, she's just saying, like, yes, I am not a witch, but even as a human, I managed to pull out something that you cannot explain through human methods.
Okay, interesting. Okay, that's a very interesting idea. I will have to say, like, they didn't say a human person killed Nanjo. They just said a culprit was appeared in front of Nanjo's eyes, and then they both looked at each other, and then the culprit killed him. I'm going to argue now, not from Eva Beatrice as a character like as a person that is Eva. I'm going to argue that Eva Beatrice from the perspective that she's a character that's created by Beatrice.
Okay.
Why is Eva Beatrice so bad at red truth? Is that, like, after all, Eva Beatrice is a character that Beatrice makes up to stand against her to make her look better. I'm not saying that like she always has 100% control over Eva Beatrice, but after all, Eva Beatrice is still a piece that Beatrice creates. Like, she's a piece.
Okay.
And like, just like there's a piece of Beatrice that thinks that she's going against Eva Beatrice. Like, do you know what I mean? Like yeah. Beatrice as a player is still playing, and she's controlling Eva Beatrice. And I imagine that this whole web of truth was not only a last-ditch effort for basically Eva to basically say, like, then who did this? This is also Beatrice is trying to basically communicate with Battler. Like, then, like, if Eva as Eva Beatrice didn't do it, then who the fuck as a human could have done this murder?
Yeah.
Because Eva being bad at red truth could just be like
Beatrice trying to make herself look better.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense because like you have the game board level, and then you have kind of the second game board level where you see Eva Beato and the Shiestas. So like the second game board layer where you see fantasy on top of the actual game board, that's just what Beato is presenting to Butler. So of course she has control over everything.
Yes.
So she would be controlling Eva Beato, just like you're saying.
Yeah, and also like that's how she can act the way she acts in basically the game board Peace Beatrice, basically like trying to act all nice. Like it's not really like the player Beatrice didn't get demoted. The Peace Beatrice was just not around. Like she's just like I think it's really easy for the readers to assume that player Beatrice descended into Peace Beatrice and is like basically being sad that Battler is not doing all of these things with her. Like I think the biggest moment that shows you that Peace Beatrice and like player Beatrice doesn't share memories is the moment when Peace Beatrice runs into Virgilia and it just says, "Why the fuck are you still alive? I thought I killed you." Because that shows you that player Beatrice knows that Virgilia is alive, of course, because they're all on the player level. But, like, Peace Beatrice doesn't know that. Peace Beatrice thinks that she killed Virgilia, and that's it.
I disagree, because Beato did not go from a player to a piece. She simply stopped being a player. Like on the game, on EP5, when you have Butler against Lambda, like Bern is not a piece. Like Bern is just not a player. So like Beato is just simply not a player, but at least not to Butler's eyes. Because like in the end, Beato is still being a player.
Yes.
But she's pretending not to be. So when she goes up to Virgilia and says that, she's also acting.
Depends. I'm not sure. I feel like...
I mean... Okay. I realize what I said, and I don't know why you're having that reaction. She's acting as Beato being the way Sayo would actually act. Like, does this make sense?
Okay. I think we're just disagreeing about if there are two Beatrices currently running against each other. I mean, no, because Beato. What you're arguing is that player Beatrice becomes Peace Beatrice, and she's just acting.
No. I literally said there is no Peace Beatrice.
Yes, that's what I mean. You think there's just like one person. I think there's two. I just think there's two. That's why I'm arguing that there is a player Beatrice controlling a Peace Beatrice on the board.
Okay, that's your interpretation. All right.
And the reason why I say that is because that's also shown in EP2. That's why Beatrice always shows up in two different dresses, because there is a Peace Beatrice that's on the board acting as a human running around. And then there's also a player Beatrice that shows up to perform a bunch of shit. But I don't even think that like Beatrice is still a character in the story she's writing. Like Beatrice is an active.
Okay, now, in EP2, I agree with you that there is a Peace Beatrice who's just doing that shit. But like in EP3, Sayo never actually acts as Beato in the game board. Like when we see Beato in the game board, it's always in the fantasy scenes. That's not a piece, that's just Beato pretending not to be the player while actually being the player.
Well, I disagree. I mean, I think we could explain this more, but I feel like we are running on out of time. You have to do so much editing on this.
It's almost 2 hours.
I know. Okay, so is there anything else besides we want to hit before we end this?
Okay, go for it. Yeah. Shoo! I dare you.
Let me see. Oh! Further arguments for my thing that Eva Beato is a naive person using red truths. She says Kiria didn't think they needed food, and I think that's the worst red truth ever.
Well, she was learning how to use it.
Why?
Because it's so blatantly obvious that you're just saying, well, there is another motive for Kiria to live, and that just leads everyone to the truth.
She was pulling some Ace Attorney style logic, where you're just like, oh, well.
It is. I mean, I think, just like Lorenzo said, she's first learning how to use red truth. Also, I feel like, in a way, maybe Eva Beatrice is stupid because Beatrice wrote her to be stupid. Like, on purpose.
Yes, of course.
To be comparatively better.
Well, not only that, but just to be easier on Battler.
Right,
like, I
right.
think,
that makes a lot of sense, because Battler was soundly defeating on the last episode.
Yeah,
so would go easy on him.
That's why I think EP3 is so easy, because like I feel like not only is Yui Kishi trying to be nicer to the reader by writing an easier episode, it's also Beatrice trying to be nice to Battler to basically write like, hey, I wrote you a mystery where Eva Beatrice is literally the culprit, and she's literally called Eva. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's providing a very easy to disprove red truth, which is, like you said, a tutorial in the middle of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to like talk about the weird narrator comments that could be interpreted from like different perspectives. There was that one moment in the beginning where the survivors are making their way to the mansion to like find out where George went, and then the narrator, from the perspective of like a first time reader, you'd assume Battler's just like marching to his doom, but then you think after rereading it, it's Beatrice who says, this is like my time to shine. I'm going to go out with a bang, sort of. I'm going to die trying to get my point across to him. Yeah? Is that kind of what you guys thought about that?
When I read it, I did interpret that as being Beato speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it's noticeably different about that part is that really marks the difference in tone and how it's written in EP3 that's different from EP1 and 2. I think like EP1, it's all from Battler's perspective, and Battler doesn't necessarily like thinks that there's anything wrong, like as in like, but like EP2 is also EP2. You also have like multiple different people's perspective, I think, right? And then, but like EP3 has a lot of like just like random dialogue where the narrator, which is I guess like Battler, who is usually narrating, says and then he says, I think we're gonna all die in the end, or like I think like, or like when the seagulls cry and nobody was left alive, or like I think this is gonna like basically end in all like horrible things. And it's really weird because like it just shows like a completely different way of like writing Umineko. Like I think if we in the end we can compile all the differences, but like I think it's something noticeable that like doesn't show up until like EP3,
right?
And that I think like that just like supports the authorship theory, which just means that like EP1 and 2 is written by different people than EP3 and 4 or 3 so far. But I understand what you mean by that.
I have 3 more thoughts exactly.
Okay.
So one of them, arcing back to what you were just saying about different perspectives in the narrative. In EP3, we hear Eva's thoughts, which is something not permitted by Van Dyne. The culprit's thoughts cannot be heard. So this is another one of those cases where Will is super based, because he's just like, man, Van Dyne sucks, and it cuts out so many interesting narratives to add to mystery stories, right? Because like the EP3 is completely, it's a fair mystery. Like Van Dyne has no reason for cutting this mystery and saying this cannot happen because the culprit's thoughts cannot be heard.
Yeah.
As long as you do it right, like EP3 did.
Yeah.
I say it's fine.
I think it's really interesting because I truly think when Yukishi introduced the idea of Van Dyne and also Knox, it's like I don't think he's trying to say like all good mysteries have to follow that, but he's just trying to be like,
yeah,
you know, like you could write a good mystery however what, but like, you know, like these are things that people brought up, and maybe like, and he's trying to also like address it and subvert it, and I find that interesting.
Yeah, I think the general commentary is that these rules are cool, but like they are to be respected just as a general rule of thumb, because you can totally break this as long as it's a fair mystery still.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think like even like Will talks a lot about it in EP7, where he's just like, yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah,
like,
that's why he retired.
Yeah, exactly. What else is the second point you want to talk about?
Okay, so it's a cigarette butt. Because, okay, once again, fucking Van Dyne. Cigarette butts are not permitted by Van Dyne.
I feel like that's a literal jab. Like, I feel like that is such a jab.
No, okay, my thought is actually another thing, which is that both Beato and Batara are fucking mystery brains. So, when they are in a pitch and don't know how to get out of it, what would they think about? They would think about cliches, like, how the fuck are we gonna get out of this? Like, look for a cigarette butt or something, you know? So that's why I think they were like, we gotta inspect the corpses. Like, there's gotta be a cigarette butt there somewhere. And then they did find it. So they got saved by a cliche, which I think it's incredibly funny in a story about mystery novels.
Yeah, I think that's real. I feel like that's also a complete jab. That's like basically Ryukishi being like, yeah, of course I can write that. Like, you know, fuck you, Van Dyne. Okay, what's your third point?
My third point is I just wanted to share how I broke through the red web of red truth without the correct answer, because I got to EP4, and as I've told you many times, when I got to EP4 I went back to try to solve everything, and then the way I solved the red web was just by saying, well, the red truth says X character is dead, but that doesn't mean they were not dead before this point.
Yes. I think
Like
a lot
this.
of people. Yeah, I think that's a really famous way to like go around
Yeah.
it.
So Mushroom, yet another point to prove that Eva Beto is naive with the reds.
Yeah, I think I still think the Web of Red is really great. Just like
It is. It is. Especially because it's a naive red. Like, it just makes sense on all levels.
yeah, we are done.
Done.
I hope so.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. Next episode, we're finishing EP3 finally.
Oh my! I can't believe we're only finishing EP3. I have read EP4 so many times. Well, like, do you know how many times I read EP4 while we're reading EP3?
Oh my God, what?
I feel like I kept talking about EP4. No, because I read it with dubs, but then before reading with dubs, I got really excited, so I read EP4 without him first. And then and then because Dubs is currently like stuck on the end of EP4 and he still hasn't finished it yet, I watched the end of EP4 like 5 times already.
Shit.
It sucks. Anyway, let's end.
Yeah, we should close the episode.
Alrighty, that was a meaty one. That was another meaty one, I guess. Good thing we ended before the end of episode 3 because I'm sure we're gonna squeeze a lot out of the next one. But until next time, see cats do crimes. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Toodles.
Bye.